You know the feeling, right? Your AI agent has been crushing it, turn after turn, maybe 50 turns deep into a really complex task. And then, bam, it just does something completely bonkers. It's a moment every single developer building with AI has felt, and it is absolutely maddening.
So, when that failure happens, when it all goes sideways, what's your first instinct? What's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm gonna bet it's not about the agent's workspace. Your mind probably jumps to one specific culprit.
Yup, I bet it's this. The model's not smart enough. I've got to upgrade. I need a bigger, better, more expensive model. It's the go-to solution for almost everyone.
But what if we just pause for a second? What if that's the wrong way to look at it entirely? What if the model is perfectly fine and we're just completely misdiagnosing the problem?
Okay, so think of it like this. Your large language model, your GPT-4 or your Claude Sonnet, that's a brilliant engineer, a genius-level worker. But we're putting that genius in a workspace that's an absolute disaster. It's like a desk buried under piles of old, irrelevant notes with 50 browser tabs open and contradictory instructions taped all over the monitor. Of course they're going to mess up. The engineer isn't the problem, the workspace is. And that's the big idea we're going to dig into.
All right, so to really get this, we've got to pop the hood on that messy workspace. In the world of AI agents, that workspace is the context window. So let's take a look at what's actually stuffed in there after a long conversation.
And wow, when you actually break it down like this, it's kind of shocking. Out of 160,000 tokens, look at the system prompt, the core instructions. It's tiny. The real heavyweights, the things just absolutely dominating the space, are the tool results and the conversation history. It's literally everything that's ever happened, whether it matters now or not.
And here is the absolute kicker. A huge chunk of that information is no longer relevant. We're talking up to 70% of the context window being pure, useless noise. You're asking this brilliant model to find a needle of a signal in a haystack of junk.
And look, this noise isn't just sitting there harmlessly. It doesn't just make things a little slower. It is actively poisoning the well. It causes your agent to fail in 3 very specific, very predictable ways.
First up, we've got signal drowning. This is when the crucial instruction is, technically, in the context somewhere, but it's buried alive. Think about it. You tell a database agent way back on turn 5 to skip soft-deleted records. But by turn 45, that one little instruction is surrounded by thousands and thousands of tokens of old logs and test results. So when it finally goes to run the real migration, it processes all those soft-deleted records. The signal was there, it just drowned in all the noise.
The second killer? It's a classic. Contradictory instructions. This is where the agent's workspace literally has conflicting rules sitting right next to each other, and it's forced to just guess which one you want it to follow now. It's a total recipe for disaster.
And this is a perfect example. Early on, you told the agent approve refunds under $50 automatically. Simple enough. But later, maybe because of a system glitch, you added a new rule, hold on, all refunds need manager approval. Well, guess what? Both rules are still floating around in the context, so the agent sees a $30 request, gets confused, and flags it for a human to look at. It failed the task, not because it's dumb, but because its instructions were a mess.
And finally, there's pattern pollution. You see, agents learn from the few shot examples you give them. But what if those examples teach the wrong pattern for the job at hand? Say you train a code review agent on lots of tiny single-file changes. It learns to be super meticulous, file by file. But then you throw a massive 87-file refactor at it. It's going to try to use that same small-scale pattern, get completely overwhelmed, run out of context, and just start making stuff up. It's mimicking the wrong behavior because that's the only pattern it has.
So, after all that doom and gloom, you're probably thinking the fix must be super complex. But it's not. The solution isn't a fancier, more expensive model. It's a smarter, more disciplined practice called context engineering. It's about tidying up.
And honestly, the rules for a clean workspace are just common sense. Only keep the tools results you need for the job you're doing right now. Have one and only one source of truth for your instructions. Summarize what's happened in the past, don't keep the whole novel. And make sure your documents and examples actually match the task. It's not rocket science, it's just being intentionally tidy. And when you do this, oh man, the difference is just night and day. You're taking your brilliant engineer out of that chaotic, cluttered mess and giving them a clean, focused environment to work in. And the impact on their performance, it isn't a small tweak, it is a total transformation.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Look at this. The model is exactly the same on both sides.
But by cleaning up the context, by slashing the token count, and cranking the signal ratio from a measly 30% all the way up to 90%, the task success rate jumps from a pretty bad 41% to a really impressive 73%. You didn't need a smarter model. You just needed to stop making your current one wade through garbage.
Which brings us to the final and maybe the most important takeaway here. Before you ever think about upgrading your model again, you need to develop a new reflex. You need to become a context detective first.
So here it is. This is your new move. The moment an agent fails, instead of looking outward for a new model, you look inward at your context, and you ask yourself these questions. What's my signal-to-noise ratio really? Are there conflicting rules in here? Am I hoarding old tool results I don't need? Do my examples actually help, or are they hurting? Just running through this checklist can solve the problem before you even think about spending another dime.
So I'll just leave you with this question. After everything we've talked about, the next time your agent messes up, what are you going to check first? The model provider's pricing page or your agent's context window?
The new mantra is really simple, but it's powerful. When your agent fails, don't just blame the worker. Stop. Open the workspace, open your context window, count the signal, count the noise. I promise you, more often than not, the problem and the solution is sitting right there.